Okay, hello. Welcome, staff. It's it's Adriana. I'm going to lead you all through hopefully a quick CAASPP training. So if you decide to do this Nearpod, awesome. You can just sit through, watch this video, answer a few questions, and that'll count as your training for this year. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so this is your CAASPP Proctor training. We are doing this. We're testing all juniors across 5 different days this year. So first and foremost, interim assessment security. None of the interim assessment questions can be shared or displayed. There are actual practice tests that you can do. But for security, we can't actually open the tests and show students. Before you're able to go ahead and even access the CAASPP website, you need to sign the affidavit, and that's done online. So you are going to need to go to caaspp.org. And if you haven't logged in a while, it's going to most likely prompt you to redo. It's going to most likely prompt you to redo your, why did the light turn off? To update your password. So please do that. And if you've already signed your affidavit, fabulous. If you have not signed it, update your password and go ahead and click that you are going to be a test administrator. And Mr. Downey will get a report on all who has done that, and then we can move forward from there. And just know that even if you sign into CAASPP right now and update your password, CAASPP forces you to make a new password every 2 or 3 weeks. I know it's kind of annoying, but just know that if you do it right now, you are most likely still going to have to do it again just before April when we do the actual CAASPP testing. So make sure you get that done. Bravo. Next. Okay, so before testing happens, so on the day that you are assigned to test, now mind you, every teacher will be assigned, I believe, 1 or 2 out of the 5, every teacher will be assigned 1 or 2 days to proctor a test. So watch out for that email from Mr. Downey. He will let you know what your testing assignment is, what day you are testing, and what group of students you are testing. And outside of that, if you're not testing on the other days that you're not testing, you will have your own personal planning time. I know that he was very intentional about trying to have the days that you're not testing at the same time with your data team. So it's actually expected that you meet with your data team and use that as data team time when you are not proctoring. Okay, so before the test, assuming that you are proctoring on the day of one of the tests, you will pick up your testing folder in room 514. Which is in room 514, which is the one of the last 500 rooms that actually faces the 800s. You can show up as early as 7:30 to pick up your materials. You're going to get a box with your folder with all of the script and directions. You're going to get 1 or 2 Chromebook chargers. You're going to get headphones. You're going to get everything that you need from that box in room 514. Please show up at some point between 7:30 and no later than 8:15. You need to make sure, please, that the desks are facing all the same direction. You will request that all cell phones be completely turned off. You will pass out Ziploc baggies. They will put their phones in a Ziploc bag. They're going to put their name on the sticky note, and you will collect all phones. This is very, very important. Request that all students remove everything from their desk except for the Chromebooks and earbuds. And you will then, in your folder, you will have a little baggie with all of their SSID cards. So they'll need that to log into the test. You will also pass out, and again, from the box that you're picking up from room 514, you will pick up your paper and scratch paper. You'll also have some graph paper if they're doing the math test on that day. And you will give that out and then collect it and destroy it, rip it up and destroy it. If you don't want to handle destroying it, just make sure you collect it, turn it back into 514 at the end of testing, and we will make sure to destroy it. Okay, so next, after testing, all allow students to read or complete a silent activity. So we know there's some students, hopefully most of them, are motivated to do well and take their time and take most of the time. But we also know that there's going to be students who just click, 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 and are done in 5 or 10 minutes. Well, make sure that you communicate with them that if they do that, they're going to be pretty bored because there will be no electronics allowed after testing or during the testing period. They will not be allowed to just hang out on their Chromebook. Once they are done testing, they will close their Chromebook and they do not have access to any electronics during the entire remaining testing period. So you will have also in that on that box that you pick up, you will have we have made lots of copies of crosswords and word searches and different puzzles that they can do. They can bring a book, but they absolutely cannot be on their phone. Phones will not be returned, and they cannot just hang out on their Chromebooks. So make sure that you know that. So when they're done testing, there are no electronics, 0 electronics. You will collect scratch paper after testing. You will return their phones, and then you will go back to room 514 and return your testing folder along with the box with all of your materials. So let's talk about CAASPP. You know that CAASPP, we are testing all 11th graders and only 11th graders. We're not doing the circus where we're doing different things on different days with different classes. We are only testing juniors. So when it is your time to proctor, you're going to go to caaspp.org and you will start here at Test Administrator Interface for all online text. So it's this second green tile on the top. You will click there once you enter. And again, if you have to renew your password, do that. And then once you do that, you'll able to, this is the landing page once you do that. From here, it'll prompt you to open these menus. You will go to Smarter Balanced Summative assessments. So not the interim. Those are our IABs. Those are interim. Those are smaller bits of the CAASPP. No, this is the summative, the big test at the end. So you will click on this pink tile that says Smarter Balanced Summative Assessments. And then just depending on the day that you are assigned to test, you might have to, assuming on the day, if you are someone who tests math and you will, once this opens up down here, you will open up the math ones. If you are testing English, you will go to ELA. And then from there, whether you're doing ELA or math, you will always be looking for grade 11. In addition, please notice that here you see CAT, C-A-T. You will either be proctoring an English CAT test or math CAT test. So CAT is computer adaptive test. Or you might be proctoring the PT day. So you might have the math or the ELA PT performance task. In general, so on the 2 testing days back-to-back for math and back-to-back for English, we will generally first they do the CAT on Wednesday, and then they'll do the PT on Thursday, and the same thing the week after. If you are one of the lucky ones testing first on March 22nd, you will actually not click the summative, you will click CAST. So C-A-S-T, California Science Test. So just be clear on what your testing assignment is, and you will be looking for those tiles. Fantastic. So you will, assuming that you are proctoring English, you will expand once you've hit the summative assessment, you will expand ELA, you will go down to the proper grade level, and then you'll see whether you are opening the CAT or the PT test, and you will just simply click Start Operational Session. And that's it. It's pretty easy. Once you start operational session, you'll notice that you will get this code at the top right. This is the code that you must write on the whiteboard, and this is what students. This is the code how students will access the testing session that you've just opened for them. So make sure you write down this code. In addition to writing down this code on the board for students to see, we're going to have this sheet printed in your folder, and if you could please record the testing session ID that was created for that group of students so that we can have a log of all the test session IDs created for that group of students. So you'll write it on the whiteboard and write it on this paper. In addition to, you will record what time you actually started the test. If everyone in your cohort or in your group finishes the test, everyone is actually done testing, then you can please record the time that it ended. And then once that happens, then if you want to go ahead and pass back phones, that's fine. But as long as anyone is testing, there is absolutely no electronics allowed. Fantastic. So which CAASPP test am I proctoring and when? So again, Mr. Downey will send out the assignments and you will have to notice which day you're proctoring and which specific test you are proctoring. But on Wednesday, March 22nd, so in like 2 weeks, in March 22nd, juniors will take the CAST test, so the California Science Test. And over here, we have included the CAST bell schedule. This day is going to be the only day that's kind of funky. This is the only day that has this particular bell schedule. So all juniors will be on campus. All juniors will report to campus at 8:30 normal time. Then there's lunch, and then the rest of the school, so sophomores, freshmen, seniors, everyone else will arrive to school at 12. Well, if they're getting lunch at 11:30, and they will be in first period at 12:06, and we will see all 6 periods. So every period is about 30 minutes. And that's only for March 22nd, Wednesday, March 22nd. Then on Wednesday the 12th, Math CAT, Computer Adaptive Test. Thursday the 13th is Math Performance Task. Wednesday the 19th, English CAT, Computer Adaptive Test. And Thursday the 20th, English Performance Task. And over here, for the rest of those days, the April days, the 2 days for math and 2 days for English, the testing schedule is here as follows, the CAASPP schedule. So on either of those days, same, only juniors will be reporting at 8:30. Everyone else is welcome to come onto campus at 11:30 for lunch, and then class will begin at 12:06. On Wednesdays, we will see periods 1, 2, and 3, and on Thursdays, we will see periods 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so let's dive in. Again, you are going to, once you've logged into your CAASPP, CAASPP.org, you will click here where it says Test Administrator Interface for all online tests. You will be sure to log in. And again, if it prompts you to update your password, you must do that, please. Okay, so a to-do list. So once you are in your classroom, you have your materials, you have your box, you have your folder and scratch paper and all the things. Here's a small checklist, and of course, you will have an access to this slide deck, so you don't have to remember this right now, but you will take daily attendance. There will be a roster in that folder. You will collect phones. You will create the test session and write the session ID on the board and record it in the paper. There will be a script. So if you've ever proctored SAT, for example, there is a script that you will actually read and say, and that will be included in your folder. And actually, if you wanted to practice that, this graphic right here is actually a clickable link to that script in case you wanted to look through it ahead of time. And finally, once testing is done, you will return your box with that folder back to room 514. All right, moving right along. So on the day of testing, I've created slides for you to use with students so that they know how to access CAASPP, how to get to the test and things. So these slides, again, you will all have access to them on that day. Please use these slides with your students. Okay, so student instructions. How do I help students get to the CAASPP? First and foremost, we ask that you please play this video prior to getting them on the CAASPP website. It's 8 minutes, and what this video shows them is the universal tool. So it doesn't matter, these kids don't have an IEP, they don't have a 504, they don't have accommodations. No, this video shows them all of the tools that every single student has available to them. And they should know that because it's designed to help them do better on the test. So so please play this video so that they know exactly what tools they have available to them. You will have in your box a copy of these posters to put on your door and around your classroom. So behavior expectations, students will know, and admin will be walking into classrooms this week, actually next week, letting and reminding juniors know what the testing expectations are. They know that we're going to collect their cell phones. They know that they can't use electronics. So this is just a reminder of those behavior expectations that we are making very clear to them the week prior to testing. Okay, so what will students need? Students are going to need their SSID number, so state student ID number. This is different than their 2000 Rancho Verde or Val Verde ID number. This is not their lunch number. This is the state student ID number. And we will have printed cards with that number. If for whatever reason, however, for whatever reason, a student that you're testing does not have their card with that number, they can simply, before they log into CAASPP, please have them go to Aries. They will go to their profile, and underneath student ID, it says state student ID. That's where they will write this number. So give them a post-it note. They can write down their number, and that's what they will use to log into their test. So in the worst case, if for whatever reason there is a missing SSID card, or the student didn't return it one of the previous days of testing, they can look it up on Aries and write it down. They will need a Chromebook. All testing is happening on Chromebooks. It's not a paper and pen test. It happens on their Chromebook, so their Chromebooks must be charged. And we will be making an emphasis of that. Their Chromebooks must be charged. If you are a junior teacher, please encourage your students to make sure that it's charged and that they bring their charger with them. They will also need headphones. We will have some headphones available, but that's kind of yucky, right? We don't want students really sharing headphones. So if they don't like the idea of sharing headphones, please encourage them. They should have their own. And we all see all of our kiddos with headbuds, so that shouldn't be an issue. So SSID, charge Chromebook, headphones. Again, here's the schedule for each day of testing. Make sure you know what day you're testing and what test you are testing. Oh dear, my light went out again. What do I do when my test finishes? So like I said before, there's zero use of electronics. If they chose to whip through the test, that's their choice. But they absolutely cannot get on their cell phones, and they cannot just play around on their Chromebook. Their Chromebook, once they finish the test, they must close their Chromebook. But we will have word searches and puzzles readily available for them to use. All right, ready? Let's do this. So for students to enter into the CAASPP test, students, they will need to log in. So they'll have to completely log out of their Chromebook. So log out completely, log out of Google, log out of everything. Then when they open their Chromebook, they will go to apps. So they will click on apps at the bottom left of their screen, and they will go to secure test browser. But they have to log out in order for apps to even appear on their screen. So if they're saying, I don't see it, I don't have it, tell them, well, you have to log out. You have to completely log out of your computer, and apps will appear, and they will choose secure test browser. Okay, student interface. So from here, they will put in their first name and their student ID, their SSID, the state student ID. So again, if they don't have their card, they can look this up on Aries and they can get the student ID, the state student ID. And then this session ID is that ID that you will have written on the whiteboard for them, that you are creating for that day, for that particular test, for that particular group of students. They will have to confirm if it's them. So please make sure that they look carefully and make sure it's them. And then they will hit yes. All right. So from there, yep. All right. So with that, that's pretty much it. From there, they will be released to take their test. The CAT test is a little shorter than the performance task. Performance task days are going to take just a tad longer. However, again, that just depends on every group of students, even on every individual student. Some students just take longer to take tests, and they do have the entire time allotted to take for the test. So with that, you can go ahead and start a testing session. I have linked this Nearpod training in these slides so that if you need to revisit this video, you can. And here we go. You got this. If you have any questions during that day, we will make sure to have a hotline for anyone who's having difficulty for whatever reason. If you need restroom breaks, that will be communicated as well. We will have people ready to go to come and relieve you. We're not expecting you to be in your classroom for 3 hours and not use the restroom. So just good luck, Rancho. Encourage the students to do their very best. This reflects on our entire school, and we're trying to beat always OV and citrus. So yeah, really encourage them to just give it all they got. All right, with that, thank you so much. Adios.